ready for another lesson?
What's up, everybody, and welcome back to Back Row Banter, your favorite casual movie talk podcast. I'm one of your hosts, Adam Schwartz, and on this week's episode, we'll be talking about the one, the only Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse, not to be confused with Spider-Man Across the Spider-Verse, which will be our review for next week. But we thought we'd get the original one on for now, just to kind of prep for that. But of course, before we get to any of that, I'm joined today by Noir Nathaniel Ginger.
I had a feeling we were going to be Noir Nathaniel, or I would have been Noir Nathaniel.
Did I use that for reminiscence? I can't remember.
Might have, yeah. That would have been, I guess, the one that would have made sense. But what up, folks?
Yeah.
I'm Noir Nathaniel. I smoke cigarettes under street lamps, and I call women dames. And
I've heard it firsthand.
I have a big trench coat with a big collar that I pop up, to walk down alleys.
This just in. I'm looking at the reminiscence show notes. You were nightlife Nathaniel.
Ah, well, there you go.
Because they couldn't go out during the day, I think. Is that the thing?
Oh, yeah.
It was like too hot during the day.
Yeah, so that was a weird little bit of that movie. That's arguably the most interesting part of that movie.
Yeah, and they didn't really play on it much.
What's your?
In fact, I remember like 2 daytime sequences.
Yeah, real quick. What Nathaniel is actually describing is probably one of my top 5 internet memes of all time. Of kind of the Dior guy standing underneath the light post and he's smoking a cigarette.
Yep.
It's animated. It's from a cartoon.
Yep.
You guys know what I'm talking about?
Yeah, 100%.
For sure. Yeah.
It's always like, "Hey kid" or whatever. Is it?
Yeah.
You got the newspaper. Is that the same one?
Something like that. Yeah,
I believe so.
Something the same effect though.
Correct. But yeah, that's me, Noir Nathaniel.
Feeling extra noir today.
So noir.
Also joining us today is Untied Ty. Tyler Dallas.
How's it going?
Do you tie your shoes well?
I do actually. If I'm wearing my boots, I tie them very well because my boots go a little bit higher up on my ankle. So you like wrap them around twice and then tie it.
Right.
But I also have shoes that don't have laces, which I'm also a fan of. So.
Do you know that there is a strong knot version of the tying your shoes and a weak knot version of it?
Yeah, you go under versus over.
That's correct.
You do a loop-de-loop and pull.
And shoes
loop, swoop, and pull.
Are you guys double loopers or double knotters?
I am a double knotter.
I'm also a double knotter.
Depends.
Not since I learned the strong knot. Ever since then, I don't worry about it.
You're gonna have to show me the strong knot. I'm not really sure what you're.
I'll show you at work someday. It'll break your mind.
So let me ask you guys this then: we're all right-handed, correct?
Yes.
See,
are you able to tie your shoe with your non-dominant hand being the lead hand?
I don't know that I've ever tried.
Oh, I've never even tried it.
Yeah, it's actually a little more difficult than you could imagine, for sure.
No, I could imagine that being pretty difficult, actually. I've never even thought to try that, though. I've only ever
I
just
think it would
done
be easier on my left foot, though, too.
I don't think that would matter.
I probably could.
To be honest.
Yeah.
I don't think which foot is going to matter.
I think it matters more than you think.
I was doing the other day, but Leah's like, "Why are you doing that with your left hand?" And I was like, "I don't know, because it's easy." And she's like, "Am I stupid or are you right-handed?" I was like, "No, you're right. I'm right-handed." She's like, "This doesn't make any sense." And I was like, "I don't know what to tell you." I was like, for some odd reason, I was like, I don't know if it was a video game thing or like a firefighting thing or somewhere down the line, I picked it up to where I was like, there are certain things that I just need to be ambidextrous for. And I started doing more things with my left hand. So I can't like write very well with my left hand, but there are quite a few things that I feel pretty comfortable with doing with my left hand. It's also a lot because of driving, because most people use, like, if you're driving one-handed, you'll probably have your dominant hand on the steering wheel. But since I drive stick, my dominant hand is driving stick and my left hand is steering. So that's probably also part of it too.
They call me the
Yeah.
God arm when I'm driving stick, you know.
Would you be God arm or would you be God foot?
I think if I could pick, I'd be God arm. Oh, speaking of which, I saw
Oh,
a
that's the most excited Nathaniel's been on this podcast since episode 1.
I saw a JDM today, an actual import. It was a Nissan, but I knew it because it was a full right-hand drive.
Oh yeah.
While I was driving to work today, there was a guy, and it had to be like a 98 or so or something like it was a Nissan, but it was the A2000. Tyler, is that the right body that I'm thinking of?
A2000.
The 2000 series. That's the Nissan body, but not the Skyline. Their other big one. I haven't watched Initial D in so long. It's
is it in the show?
no, it wasn't. I'd have to find it, but it was it was just a full on right hand drive car.
Do you know? Is it like in a movie? Would you recognize it? That I would.
If I saw it again, I would recognize it, but I
Yeah.
haven't seen it in a movie that I could pick it out.
I mean, there's a Nissan Silvia, but those aren't like 2000s or anything like that.
Could have
They're
been a
just
Silvia.
Nissan Silvias.
It could have been a Silvia.
Silvias are like an S12, S13, S14, S15,
See, that's what I'm thinking. It was one of those.
and then an A2000.
No, that's probably what I'm thinking of. I would have to imagine. I don't know. I'll have to
There's
look into it.
also like a Nissan like 240 SX, which is a little bit of an older body style. Those are dope.
Yeah, I got no idea what's happening right now. Kind of just tuned out for a sec. Are you guys gonna find it?
We can move on. I'll let you know.
While
if
you
I
guys
bring it up.
find it, let me introduce our last guest, or not guest, our last host, Big Spidey Blake.
Yes, sir. Not a fan of large spiders, but I'll take it.
I heard it was any spiders, just any
Yeah.
spiders.
I agree. Funny enough, I actually saw a spider today working from home. There was one basically directly where I'm looking right now. It was on my patio sliding door. But it was small and it didn't really bother me. No, it was small, so it didn't really bother me. I let him cook. I have no idea where the guy is.
That's
Hope
progress.
it's all well. For sure. I don't think I would have been able to do that 5 years ago, fellas. By any
There you go.
means. So I am
You've come a long way.
I am growing, as they say.
I really appreciate how "let him cook" has entered the lexicon.
I love that. I love letting cook.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's my new kind of favorite phrase at the moment.
That's a good one.
For sure. Shout out to that guy. He wasn't doing anything wrong. I'm sure he also limits the amount of maybe like bugs, mosquitoes, flies I may see over here. So
I mean, yeah, he was outside. You said, right? Or was he inside?
It's a glass pane. It was really hard to tell, and I didn't get too close to find out.
See, that's the thing is I would have to find out. If he was outside, I'd probably just let him. I would just let him cook. But if he was inside, I don't know. It depends on the size.
Yeah, he was really small though, so I wasn't overly concerned. I think if it was larger, I would have had to dug a little deeper to see if he was inside or outside. But I was like, you know,
yeah, that's fair
for sure.
Yeah. Did you guys find that car you guys are looking for?
I believe it was an S14, Tyler.
Okay.
That means a lot to me.
They're dope cars.
I just remember. Well, I really liked the rear end. The light taillights were really cool because they were all the full like modular, where it was like all one, almost like the Mazdas.
There's a sick body kit you can get for those. It's from Rocket Bunny, which is a very reputable Japanese brand as far as body kits go.
I was looking it up there, I was seeing that kit.
It's called a Boss kit, and it literally makes the Silvia look like the front end of like a Ford Mustang, like Boss.
That's
and,
awesome.
They are fucking filthy.
Well, this ends Car Talk with Nathaniel and Tyler. Join us next week.
If you want to talk about more cars, let me know. I'm down.
More JDM talk.
I probably will not be hitting you up. Unless I'm like going to buy a car, which won't be anytime too soon.
Yeah, you got to buy that Adobe suite.
Yeah, exactly. I got to fucking
price.
figure out how I'm going to finance that. Can't even get a car yet.
So the year is 2018.
The year is 2018.
Can you cast your
Or you
mind
s-
back to that pre-COVID world?
It's hard, man.
we
It's kind of a.
we were so young then.
It's weird to think about how that was only 5 years ago, but so much has happened since.
But that was 5 years ago too.
Yeah, 5 years ago. That's way longer.
I feel
than
withered.
it to be. Yeah. But yeah, I mean, we can just move on into our main review segments. We're doing that first now, which I forgot about until about 30 seconds ago.
I
was like,
wondered
oh, yeah,
if you did.
I was about to suggest what we're watching. I was like, oh wait, no, we don't do that anymore. Yeah, if you missed last week's episode, we're switching it up. We are doing a review segment first, and then we're going to be doing what we're watching after, just so we kind of prioritize the thing that we should be prioritizing, which is the main review, getting you guys to the main review quicker, for longer, perhaps better. And then the what we're watching or anything else we want to talk about is still there at the end of the episode. But that being said, Nathaniel, can you introduce our main review segment for those who may have forgotten or are new to the podcast?
What up, folks? If you're new or if you've just forgotten, the way the review segment here on Back Row Banter works is like this. There's two segments. There's the non-spoiler section, and then there's the spoiler section. It's pretty self-explanatory. In the non-spoiler section, we'll go over the IMDb summary, who wrote it, who directed it, all that good stuff, who acted in it, who's starring in it. We'll go around the squadron, have to decide if we would recommend this movie, yes or no. And then from then on, it'll be spoiler time. I'll play the spoiler noise. If you don't want to have it spoiled for you, you can skip that section, but do come back, which will be written in the show notes. And I guess that's it. Oh, yeah. Well, actually come back because now we're going to, be doing what we're watching after our review segment as well, too. So we will have more to talk about as well. But yeah, Adam, back to you.
Cool. Well, this, of course, is Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse. Released in 2018, as we were just saying. Rated PG with a runtime of 1 hour and 57 minutes and an IMDb rating of 8.4 out of 10. Pretty good for IMDb. Directed by Bob Persichetti, Peter Ramsey, and Rodney Rothman. Written by Phil Lord and also Rodney Rothman. Starring Shameik Moore in the main role of Miles Morales, Jake Johnson as Peter B. Parker, Haley Steinfeld as Gwen Stacy, Mahershala Ali is here, Brian Tyree Henry, Lily Tomlin. Who else am I missing? And then I'm going to get John Mulaney, Nicolas Cage. Chris Pine's in it for a little bit. And I think I'll probably leave it there. I just saw Oscar Isaac has a voice credit for Interesting Person number 1. I don't know who that is, but he's in it at some point. So, a few others here and there, but I think that's the main stuff. Oh, Zoe Kravitz is Mary Jane. That's where I'm going to leave it off. And Catherine Hahn. Okay, I keep just missing names.
There's a lot of famous people in it.
Actually, now that I'm looking at it in the whole.
It is,
and there are quite a few people here, yeah. But all that being said, what a great cast, and they do a great job. But the IMDb summary reads as follows: Teen Miles Morales becomes the Spider-Man of his universe and must join with 5 spider-powered individuals from other dimensions to stop a threat for all realities. Okay. Decent IMDb summary. I mean, yeah.
It's about as easy as you can make it.
It's pretty straightforward. Nothing too complex there. Nothing, you got to wrap your head around. To fill in any gaps, though, you got Miles Morales. He's high schooler, around the age that Peter Parker should be around, or Spider-Man should be around, at least, in the early days, of course. Gets bit by a spider from certain events, of course, and but there's already a Spider-Man that exists, and then there's a lot of Spider-Man that exist. Spider-Man. Do you guys remember the Spider-Man meme? Were you guys ever a part of that? Or is that
I do vaguely remember those.
No, I'm with that. That's where they're all pointing at each other, right? Yeah, that's like peak internet for me. Or am I?
I don't know. Spider-Man, I think is I think Spider-Man. No, that's also a meme. So you got that one. I'm pretty sure Spider-Man is. Yeah, that's exactly what I thought it was. It's like a dumb looking Spider-Man drawing. If you just Google Spoderman, but then there's
Oh,
also the
I think I know what you're talking about. You
or
said dumb
Spooderman.
looking Spider-Man drawing.
Yeah, it's like a sock puppet looking Spider-Man.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's Spider-Man. But anyway, yeah. So now there's a bunch of other Spider-Man around. This is our like introduction into a multiverse, really, for superheroes. This was before Endgame and right before Infinity War, or right after, or in between. I don't remember if Infinity War had come out yet. But I know Endgame hadn't. So yeah, this is like early multiverse stuff. So this is kind of the introduction we got to it before it came kind of mainstream for the rest of the superhero flicks, you know?
Yeah, I remember around the time being very skeptical of the idea that there was going to be a animated Spider-Man movie, because we were coming out of the
Right.
Garfield era. We had the Tobey Maguire era, obviously. There was the Tom Holland era, I believe, had kicked off at this point in
It already had, yeah.
there, because
Yeah.
2017 is
Civil War was
Homecoming.
2016.
Yeah, and Homecoming, I think.
And I think Homecoming's 17 and this is 18.
Yeah,
So,
so
you're on the right track.
I think I was pretty skeptical of it until I started seeing the first shots coming out. We started seeing that first trailer and everything, and we saw kind of the art style being
Right.
so radically different. And then I think, I mean, they knocked it out of the park on this one, in my opinion, on that one. And it's, single-handedly kind of holding up Sony at this point in a lot of ways for me
little
too.
Yeah.
But yeah.
This was definitely one that, like, I don't want to say it was a sleeper, but I don't think anyone was expecting it to be nearly this good, because Sony just hadn't had a good track record with with Spider-Man. Sorry, they'd just given up Spider-Man to Marvel, basically, and it was animated, which there's been plenty of animated Spider-Man stuff before, but this definitely looked different. So I was like holding out hope for it when around the time it was coming out. I just didn't expect it to be nearly this good, and I don't think many people were. I don't know about you guys, but this was definitely like a surprise treat where like expectations were nowhere near what we got, basically.
For sure.
Yeah. But that being said, I mean, what are more of your thoughts on the movie itself? I would say, Nathaniel.
Oh, I was just checking one other thing too, is that in this we had also gotten Venom 2 months before this came out as well too. So yeah, that's why I remember being very not in on Sony Spider-Man at that time as well too. But yeah, you said my thoughts? Yeah, I'm a huge recommend. I love this movie. It's amazing. I think it's arguably up there with your best of the best Spider-Man films overall. It's crazy that they actually got Miles Morales right, in that you like had a full teenage minority character that everyone kind of immediately was just like, this is amazing, and like he's awesome in this role. And and then they nailed Peter B. Parker as well too. I think Jake Johnson is amazing in there as well too. It fits his kind of voice perfectly in some ways, and he's essentially just kind of playing a riff on his New Girl character, which is amazing anyway. So Tyler can back me up there, obviously.
Cute.
But yeah, I mean, it's really, really good. I don't know what else to say about it beyond that. It's kind of like, this is always harder when the movie is actually good. Yeah,
non-spoilers too.
Yeah, I'll kind of jump in while you're getting your thoughts. I mean, I think to Adam's point of the film being a pleasant surprise, definitely hit home to a lot of people when this came out in 2018.
For sure.
Where this is one I caught in theaters, and just went being at that time being a fan of a ton of superhero movies, kind of seeing the Marvel things going out. And I went in and I left, and I was like, oh, this is actually really awesome. I mean, for starters, this is like Sony coming off making like fucking horrible animated movies. So that's kind of like the next batch too that we didn't really dive in. Where like they're making like the Emoji Movie, and did
that's
they make like
right,
is that like the Angry Birds movie? I think
You're
they did all that type of
100%
like
right.
bullshit, and I was kind of like, I don't even know if I want to watch an animated Sony film. And then they put this out, and it was like, oh man, this is what we've been looking for. So that played a role, as well as kind of the art style or the comic style on this is it's hard to even pinpoint how valuable that is, considering that's kind of the first time we've seen something like that in a big budget movie, right? In terms of it looking very, very comic booky, quote unquote. So yeah, overall, I'm a fan of it. This is actually only the second time I've seen it, first time since theaters. And yeah, so I was it still held up well to be 5 years later. So I'm definitely looking forward to seeing the next one. So
I feel like it kind of broke the mold a little bit away from like the Disney Pixar style in terms, and I'm talking about art style, like in terms of animation, where I feel like you had like at the time you kind of had like that style, and then there's almost like the DreamWorks style as well too, but both were more 3D animated, but going for stylized, realism, where this was completely taking the comic book 2D animation style and kind of just playing with that to the like nth degree in the margins of it as well too. So and I think we've seen more films taking bigger risks with that kind of style since then. The Puss in Boots sequel comes to mind recently, and like the new Ninja Turtles movie that's coming out as well too. That's a little bit more of that kind of 2D animated style as well too. So I feel like this movie was a big turning point, not only in like the now everything's a multiverse, but also in like the kind of animation industry as well too.
Yeah, that's a great point, because like we really hadn't seen anything similar to this before, so getting this, and it was really refreshing, because we were just so used to like the 3D animation and everything of, like you said, Illumination and Pixar and stuff. So it was just so weird to see something so different, because we haven't seen something so different in a while, and also have it be done so well too, because I think it's more than just like the actual animation style. It's also just like the small things they do within it, where like when they get to the multiversal Spider-Man, I mean, I'm a little bit of spoilers here, but how they're all animated differently in their own different style, and then also like the frame rates and stuff are mixed up too. So it's beyond just the style itself, but it's also the care within that kind of brings it to life, and is what makes it work, I think. And also just the comic book aspects of like the text bubbles and stuff like that. I think are really kind of what pull it together, because without that stuff, I don't know if it would have the same effect. I think it excels so well because it leans so heavily into that style. Ty?
This movie dope as fuck. Yeah, I mean, obviously, we hit a lot on the animation, but being able to capture a comic book in a movie with the animation style that they did was just phenomenal when you see it for the first time. Still good now, but obviously when you see it, for the first time, you're like, holy shit, this is insane. And excuse me, when you I'm sure most people know this, but when you either a newspaper or like a comic book or something like that, when you zoom in on that ink, they're all little polka dots and stuff like that. So you see that style come through in the animation with all the background noise and everything like that. But even the way that they capture noise or like an emotion through the animation style, it's just incredible. So yeah, I'm a huge fan of the animation, like we all are. This movie is killer. It's written really well. The voice acting is incredible. You really get all the emotions from all the actors. Everybody's really kind of giving it their all, and it shows. But on top of that, this movie knows exactly what it is, and I think that's something that we say quite often when a movie is good. But when a movie is good, it should know exactly what it is. And this is one of those movies that just hit the nail on the head. And I don't have uh, really a bad thing to say about this movie. They just kind of tighten everything up very, very well, and I'm a big recommend.
Yeah, if you can tell, I'm also recommend. I think
For sure.
probably all of us here are, if I had to guess.
Yes.
Yeah. Well, I want to talk about this more in spoilers. You guys, that seems like more fun. The one thing I will say in non-spoilers is the soundtrack is incredible. Probably one of the best soundtracks in any movie, period. At least for me, I think this is definitely up there. So that is definitely another tip that helps it out quite a lot, and that's kind of true throughout the movie. It opens up with the sunflower, and then really it's got banger after banger from there. But regardless, we're going to go ahead and talk about this a little bit more in depth. So we're going to head into spoilers. If you have not seen the movie and don't want to spoil it for you, check that episode description. You'll find a timestamp you can use to be taken to the ranking of our movie up upon our Entropy list. Nathaniel, spoilers.
Whoa. I hit the trombone by accident, folks.
Oh, that's trombone. Trombone spoilers.
Now we got chime spoilers. That I feel is a little bit nicer.
Yeah, we got to work on that purge sound horn.
Ooh. Can I just? Do you
That's
want
really
me
good, dude. That's really good.
You
Yeah,
want me to
no,
just
I
do
like
it
that.
myself audibly?
Yeah, wait.
Every
Is
time.
that Rogue One?
It's whatever you need it to be.
Uh,
So shit goes down
some shit does go down.
for a PG rated movie.
Yeah, I would say so.
All right, fellas, we'll get to it. How do we feel about them offing Spider-Man or Peter Parker?
I love that.
Sad?
Oh, it was very
Unexpected?
sad.
For sure.
Not really unexpected because, well, I don't know. I remember the trailers didn't explicitly spoil that, but it was kind of like, oh, this is like a different kind of Spider-Man. So like when that opening sequence happens and we're introduced to the actual Spider-Man, it was kind of like, oh, that's not okay. I'm confused how we get to where we're going. And so it was a bit of a shock. I remember in the first viewing of like, oh fuck, they just kill Spider-Man. All right, cool. And because we hadn't seen multiverse stuff, I didn't know what they were going to do to bring him back or get another Spider-Man or whatever. So it was kind of cool seeing how they did that as well. And to be honest, I don't think that like if this movie had come out today, I don't think that surprise would have worked for me because this was the first one to do it. I think that's why it had so much going for it when it came out. It was like, oh shit, we haven't really seen a movie kind of or a superhero movie kind of do this before, where they can kind of almost not retcon, but they have other options and avenues for kind of playing with the story, and so killing off a hero like that right at the beginning, only to then bring him back in a pretty cool way that we haven't seen before was a fun surprise for that first viewing.
Yeah, fair.
Yeah, I think in my opinion, I'm not sure that like multiverses have really been outdone over this one yet. You know, I think of the multiverse movies, this might still be the best version of that set yet. I mean, we don't really go to many other multiverses or anything like that, but it is in and of itself an alternate universe, I guess. But yeah, I mean, I think they handle that really, really well overall. And I think to kind of Blake's point and to Adam's point, part of that is down to its structure, where you get okay, I'm going to do this one more time. Okay, we're going to do this one more time. And they actually build that joke into the actual, like, part of the movie as well, too, until you finally get to the Miles point where he gets to say it as well and kind of have his little moment as well. So I think that's really smart filmmaking.
Right. was just about to say something and I totally forgot. But I would agree with you. I still think this is probably my favorite multiverse interaction. Second being Spider-Man No Way Home.
Facts.
So Spider-Mans are really killing it on the multiverse stuff.
This one's just so strong because it's animated. Not to take anything away from the live action stuff, but it's so much more believable when you're in an animated context than what it is when you're doing live action stuff. And you're able to just run with that. And I think it takes a lot of people out of that mindset when you are watching the animated versus live action stuff. And so I think it's definitely got that peaking for it for sure. But yeah, they just fucking nailed it. They don't spend too much time explaining everything. They do a really good job and this is just good writing. They do a really good job at throwing just a fuck ton of information at you in such a short amount of time, but it's cohesive and they do a really good job with like the humor and everything as well with the jokes. Like before you're basically listening to one joke and then another one is already happening, and before you know it, you're still thinking about the first one, which gives this movie a ton of rewatchability value. And it's again, it comes down to just really good writing, but it's just such good cohesive storyline that just keeps pushing itself. It's driving itself without getting caught up on too much of the details, and they do just such a phenomenal job with it.
Agreed.
Yeah, agreed. So there's something you said there that I wanted to wait to ask this question towards the end of the review, but I think you kind of already hinted at what I want this question to be. But is this the best comic book superhero movie we ever had? Like, this is the best one based on art style, the type of story it has, the characters, like all that combined. Do you guys think this is the best comic book superhero movie, period?
Tough.
It's a
I think
loaded
that-
question.
Yeah,
It is.
That's
It is.
tough. So I'll try to give it an answer.
It's very loaded, and it's meant to be.
I think that still probably falls on the Dark Knight. I would say this is close in that top 3 range. I would say.
Okay. So this is top 3 period for you think?
Of superhero films?
Yeah.
Yeah, I would say so.
Respectable. I cannot blame you for that at all, of course. Nathaniel, you looked lost in thought there.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's different because of the medium. I think animation in its nature just allows you to play so much more in that unreality, and as Tyler's kind of like was talking about a bit earlier, that just gives you so much more leeway in both how you can portray everything and how you tell your story, because you're not limited by physics, obviously, or money. So I guess that's like kind of I mean, I'm tempted to say yes. It's one that I would think has a pretty strong argument at the very least for being the number one comic book movie, and it's definitely a like rather than having someone trying to outdo the Dark Knight in a dramatic sense, I'd be happier that they'd push another genre into like to its limits more, like the way that this did with animation. So, yeah, I don't know. I'd agree with Blake. I think it's probably top 3 up there.
What if I rephrase the question slightly? Is this the best comic book superhero adaptation to film that we've had? So as far as like translating a comic book type of story and feel and stuff, I mean, it's a very similar question, but do you think this is the best job someone's done of translating a comic book to a movie?
Oh, the art styles are so similar.
Yeah, right.
I mean, they
it's
literally tried to pull
that?
as much of that as possible into that. So
Yeah.
I guess if you're gonna phrase it like that, then yeah. But if you're just going with just superhero adaptation or comic book hero adaptation, it's definitely in the conversation for sure. The hard part is everybody has their own biases towards whatever superhero they like. Spider-Man was never my favorite growing up. He's still not my favorite, but this movie definitely moves the needle because it kicks ass, and so do all the other movies. Even the early Sam Raimi stuff. Like when you first saw that stuff, it was just fucking insane to
Sure.
see Spider-Man on the big screen.
And that's a very comic book-y movie, especially in comparison to like the 30 plus Marvel movies we have now as well too. Just in I'm talking in tone and style.
100%.
Yeah.
And I think that has a lot to do with Sam, and just kind of where his head was at, and kind of what they had to work with at the time. Obviously, now we get so much more CGI and what they're able to kind of play around with, and obviously different directors have different styles that they want to shoot things in. But yeah, that's just going to be a tough question in general. It's for sure in the argument, no doubt. This movie is just insane on every level. Whereas obviously you get some movies in the superhero, whether it's Marvel, DC, that just are live action or animated TV show or movie, that just have complete and utter fucking misses. But yeah, it's for sure in the conversation without a doubt for being up there at the top.
Gotcha. Yeah, I mean, I think this comes pretty damn close to being one of the best adaptations. I think Dark Knight is a good one because that does feel like isolated in and of itself, like a very good little, graphic novel type of story in one comic book run, kind of like that could be, a very concise story. But I definitely think this does come close, and I like, Nathaniel, what you said about you'd rather someone try to challenge Dark Knight for that in such a different way because this is such a different approach to that. And you know what? I'm just glad that we have two different ways of going about these kind of movies. Like we can have the Dark Knights that are still very good on their own, but then we can have fun stuff like this that looks gorgeous, that is very close to the original medium and source material in almost every way, down to like how it looks. So I'm glad that we have both of these things existing.
What did you guys think of the emotional storyline of this movie?
Talking about Uncle Aaron?
Well, yeah, I think that, but just like, Miles in general and like, his kind of growth throughout the movie as well too. Obviously,
Sure.
With any Spider-Man, you need to have the sacrifice character or the
Right.
the lost character, and this one is his Uncle Aaron rather than his Uncle Ben or anything like that. But there's also obviously the other side of it as well too of Miles being from Brooklyn and being multicultural as well, and going to public school and all of that kind of stuff, and then coming after another Spider-Man as well too, and taking up that mantle and stuff. Like there's a lot of emotional story beats to this movie.
Yeah, for sure. I for one definitely enjoyed that. I mean, it was good to be able to have a minority figure on a screen where that's something that just wasn't prevalent for me growing up in my childhood, right? So it's kind of cool to see some of that stuff as an adult, as well as just kind of the background we get in the relationship with his father. So they even kind of have like that comical scene where I think it's when he drops him off at schools, right? And he's like talking to him over the intercom.
Yeah.
And just even having like a good father figure and stuff. I mean, you always see a lot of movies like this that involve minorities, and like it's people in like single parent households or like a father's not involved and things of that nature, right? So it is kind of cool to get a positive spin on that. So that's something that I definitely find valuable as well, because that just shows like the people that you are able to maneuver life like that, right? And there are positive role models for people who are African American or Hispanic or Asian and things of that nature.
Or completely black and white, if you're Nick Cage, born in a world without color.
Dude, that Rubik's Cube bit is hilarious.
It is fun.
Yeah, that is a great joke. I love the cast who they got for all the other Spider-Mans too.
Yeah,
Nick Cage is perfect. John Mulaney is perfect.
Yeah.
Who are the other? Oh, I'm trying to think of the other ones. What's the one robot diva looking one?
Penny.
Oh yeah, that's right, Penny Parker. That one's good too. They were all great. And like, are those canon to Spider-Man comics, or are those? I know Noir Spider-Man is.
Yeah, I know Spider-Man Noir is its own thing. Spider-Ham is as well too. And then Penny Parker is, from what I understand, from a like either a one shot or like a kind of what if universe, but she I think was written by the My Chemical Romance guy, who is the same one that did Umbrella Academy. I think she's a creation of his as well too.
Gotcha.
And then obviously the one we haven't even fucking talking about yet, which is Gwen Stacy, stepping into the Spider Gwen, aka Spider Woman role in this one.
Right.
And I think that's Haley Steinfeld. She's great.
It is Haley Steinfeld who kills it, by the way. And I think I love this adaptation of like Spider Woman and Gwen Stacy. I think this is handled way better than the Amazing Spider-Man ones. Although no knock to Emma Stone, love Emma Stone, but this was really cool. I like kind of like the style that they went with her and kind of her personality in this one, and also how she kind of plays into the story. Where like she's not necessarily like she kind of becomes a romantic interest, but that's not what her role in the film for the most part is. She's kind of playing also a mentor role. I thought that was a nice twist too, kind of to play on the character dynamics, and we'll probably see more of that, of course, in the new one.
Yeah, one of the cool things about the multi-universe Spider-Verses is it solves the ultimate problem or one of the ultimate problems of being a superhero, right? Is that you like can't really have friends or like other people like you, because most often the times, by nature of being a superhero, they're isolated or lonesome individuals. So the Spider-Verse movies gives all the spider people friends, and that's nice. It gives the villains friends too. We get a Sinister Six actually in this one.
Yeah, this is like yeah. We don't even mention the villains here, but yeah, we do basically get the Sinister Six for the first time. Well, for the first time up until No Way Home, really, where they kind of did Sinister Six.
They do a version of it, I suppose, as well too.
Yeah, I think isn't there only 5 in No Way Home, or is there 6?
Yeah, I don't know. Remember. Who cares?
Yeah, who cares?
We could look it up, but it doesn't matter.
It doesn't matter. Yeah. But yeah, this version here is still badass. And the voice acting there is great too. Did I say Catherine Hahn is Doc Ock?
Yeah, I loved that twist when I was watching this for the first time when she says,
"Oh, 100%." You don't see that really come in at all.
Yeah, it was really fun. I love that whole scene at the lab station as well too. The kind of break in and then break out where they take the bus there the first time and then escape. He's like, well, the good news is we don't need the monitor. Throws it back behind them as well too.
Yeah.
But yeah, and then where were we starting with this? Sinister Six and villains. We get Tombstone. We get Scorpion as well too.
Kingpin.
Kingpin is obviously the big one. Yep. And then the Prowler and Green Goblin as well too.
Yeah. Now, is the Prowler, is that canon to Spider-Man? Because I've never really heard of him.
Yeah, we were, Waz and I were talking about this. I'm not sure if he's only Spider-Man. He might be part Daredevil as well, too, which is obviously where Kingpin kind of crosses over. But he is generally a kind of martial arts / tech-based super villain, or kind of thief. I think we were reading something like he's kind of one of those guys that you can pay him to get you something kind of thing.
Gotcha. Well, I think they handled him well, and it was cool. His animations and stuff, the way he fought was cool, and like
I love his sound design.
I was about to say the sound, the like siren or whatever it is that they do with him is really cool. So I liked all that.
And I love that they wanted to convey he's super cool, so they had him listening to Biggie.
Yeah.
That was pretty cool. Yeah.
On the world's largest speakers. They're like 8 feet tall next to him.
His poor neighbors, man. His poor neighbors. Yeah, no, that was a good sequence too. And I like the character. Mahershala Ali kills it. Underrated kind of performance in this one. I wish he had more to do, but what he does, or what he has in this movie, he does well. There was something else I was gonna say.
Does it feel like the Kingpin just kind of shoots him out of nowhere? Because like he's
Yes.
got Miles on the end of the roof, and he needs the goober, which I love. Is just that they're like, "Yep, this is the MacGuffin for the movie. We're gonna name it just something stupid, just so you
Yep.
understand, and we're gonna call attention to it too." But and then Kingpin just kind of shoots him in the back. Why wouldn't he shoot Miles or the
Right.
Spider-Man that's in front of him? It's just. It does feel a little weird in that sense. It still works emotionally, obviously, but it does
Yeah.
feel a little bit odd upon
Just a tad.
upon a rewatch. I didn't notice it the
Yeah.
first time.
That he could have shot Miles.
Or that it just kind of like doesn't quite fit what's going on. I'm not sure why Kingpin shoots at all, realistically, is I guess what I'm saying.
I see what you're saying. Yeah, no, I agree with you, and it did kind of come out of nowhere for me on the second watch too, where I was like, oh, that's kind of odd. But I don't know. It doesn't bother me too much, but I think you have a valid point there. It is kind of just like, oh, this happens for some reason. Soundtrack though, I absolutely love the opening sequence where he's kind of getting ready for school and he's singing Sunflower, but he doesn't understand the words. Because like I still sing that song and I'm still like doing what he does, and I'm like and then like singing like just one word, and I feel like we've all done that with other songs before too. But I feel like that was just such a good introduction to him, and then a cool sequence where he's kind of getting ready for school and he's got to just throw everything together and puts his backpack over the bag or the stack of books and just wraps them up, and I was like, oh god.
Yeah, I did like that.
Yeah. So good opening sequence there, and the soundtrack just continues to crush the rest of the way.
The soundtrack was not something that I think I like drew that much of my attention my first watching on it overall, but I don't disagree with you. It's just wasn't, I guess, like a super standout highlight for me or anything like that. Of course, afterwards, Sunflower became a massive
Sunflower
song.
blew up,
Yeah.
which is the one that always sticks out for me. But even the rest of the soundtrack, I feel like is pretty solid, and I would listen. I haven't like listened to it religiously or anything like that, but I have gone through it a couple times.
For sure.
Closer to when the movie came out. But yeah, it's I think just really overall pretty solid. And it all of the music in it definitely fits the tones and everything too. It matches the personality of the movie. And then we got Metro Boomin doing the soundtrack for the next one, which is very exciting.
I didn't know that. That's actually pretty cool.
Yeah.
I was not
He's
aware
like
of that.
basically producing the soundtrack for Across the Spider-Verse, which is awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah. Man, I'm
Let me
losing
ask you this
every-
then. I mean, I'll
Yeah, you
let's
go ahead. Yeah.
let's just chat about it here, fellas. So we were speaking of like where does this rank in comic book movies? Like where are we ranking this just in the Spider-Man universe, right? So we got Obi-Wan's, we've got what's my other man's name? The Amazing Spider-Man, and what's the ones like 2013, 2014? What's Garfield?
I'm
Andrew
Garfield.
Garfield's got Tobey Maguire, Andrew Garfield, Tom Holland. Where are we putting this one? Because in my opinion, it's pretty damn high. So right, you got 3 from Sam Raimi, you got 2 from Andrew Garfield, and we've got 3 from Holland. So that's 6, 8. So we have 9 Spider-Man films that have hit the
Yeah.
big screen.
Yep.
Where do you put this 1 through 9? Go.
Oh gosh, I don't want to do the whole 9. I'll do like the top 3. Like, I think this one. I think there's an argument this is your best one. I mean, really.
Okay, for sure.
I think
like-
this is top 3 for sure.
For sure.
Spider-Man.
I
Spider-Man
probably
2.
I was gonna say Spider-Man 2 is the only one that I can think of off the top of my head where I'm like, oh, that's definitively a challenger, if not outright better than this one.
Yeah, it's. I think you're 100% correct on that. It's definitely one 1A, 1B in those two.
Yeah.
Between those guys, and then coming
Right.
up third behind it, I'd have Homecoming. I really like Homecoming as a Spider-Man movie where it's very low stakes and it's just very kind of
for
like
sure.
first starting, and then Anyways, Tyler I know is a big fan of the Garfield one, so I'd imagine he'd have those higher. Tyler might
Tyler?
not be at his mic right
He
now.
might not be. Yeah, he might not be as.
Yeah, I guess I'll jump into it. Yeah, I'm looking at. I do like Spider-Man 2 a lot, the Sam Raimi one. Even the first one, to be honest with that Sam Raimi trilogy is just underrated, I guess.
It's very
the
good.
thing to say. But yeah, I mean,
It's aged pretty well too.
It has. I think I may roll number one, fellas. The only thing that does kind of shy me away is Spider-Man 2. Awfully close, but I think that's just a testament to how this movie was awesome. Going into it blind, not really having those expectations. And I don't even think we talked about what this did at the box office, but I do believe this did crazy numbers as well.
Oh yeah.
So
It
the
did,
unanimous kind of from the population of like the average moviegoer to even like the kind of high-end movie buffs or people even above that, it seemed like the consensus was like, hey, it's a pretty damn good movie we got here. So yeah, man.
Yeah.
I've been here. Sorry.
No.
Yeah, as far as ratings go, the only thing I don't like about the Sam Raimi trilogy is the third one, which I think a lot of people
Oh yeah.
would back me up
Yeah.
on. First one's great. Second one's fun. I am a huge fan of the Andrew Garfield ones, the Amazing Spider-Man. Tom Holland kills it. And then there's this. Out of all of them, are you it's hard because if you go movie by movie, this is definitely up there for sure. This is like top 3, but if you're just going by Spider-Man in general and what we've kind of had in our generation, he's got to be top 2.
Yeah.
And I don't know if that one spot goes to Andrew Garfield or if it goes to Tom Holland for me. I know that might sound crazy. But yeah, they're both pretty neck and neck.
I think Shameik Moore he murders it in this one.
He does, dude.
I saw him in Nope, and then I don't know what else he's been doing for a little while now, but he needs to be doing more roles because I like him in this a lot.
Yeah. This is, I don't know if I could put this over Spider-Man 2, but this is probably number 2 if I had to pick, and then Spider-Man 2 being number 1, if you're tracking that. But yeah, this is very, very good. And I don't think I could blame anyone for having this at number 1 if they did. It's kind of one of those.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah.
We'll see if the next one can blow me away even more, because I have heard it's better than the first.
I think it'll be close.
There's-
Yeah, I don't think they're gonna go out and drop an egg. I think I think it'll be damn good.
Early reviews coming in are positive.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. One thing I did want to mention, I don't know if you guys knew this, but I was talking about the frame rate stuff before and the non-spoilers. Did you guys know that Miles's frame rate animation, how he's animated, it increases as the movie goes on? So while he's not fully capable of his Spider-Man abilities, he's rendered in 24 frames or whatever it is. He's pretty choppy, maybe even less than that, whatever it is. And he doesn't get full smooth animation like the other Spider-Man until he kind of gets control of his powers. And even in that escape sequence when they're swinging through the
I was gonna
trees
say,
and he
that's-
starts swinging for the first time.
Definitely where I would
Yeah.
notice it the most.
Yes, is he's animated much smoother until he crashes and he goes back into the other animation style, which you don't really, you kind of notice something's going on, but you don't really pinpoint it the first time you watch it. And I heard that not too long ago. Forgot where from, but and so watching it this time, I was kind of looking for that stuff, and I was like, damn, that's really good. And I've heard that that kind of change in animation between characters is kind of they do it even more in this next one, and that's kind of why it's taking them so long, is they're doing so many different art styles and they're rendering them in different frame rates and all this kind of stuff and then mixing them together on same frames and scenes and whatnot. So that's kind of how or why it's taken, or at least part of the reason why it's taken so long to get this next one out. So I'm very
I guess
excited.
I didn't quite notice that, but now that you kind of bring it up, I do kind of recall some of that. But yeah,
Yeah,
that's just
yeah.
even more testament, like those small details, those small, minute
Right.
details. So it puts
They
the
go a
movie
long way.
above them, for sure.
Yeah.
I want to throw her on the list.
Yeah. Do we have much more to say
Unless
here? Are we
everybody
good?
got any,
Make him good.
Agree.
Movie's dope.
Movie's dope. Chris Pine. You know what? I forgot to say this at the beginning when you asked how sad we were about them killing Spider-Man. The only thing that makes me sad is I loved Chris Pine doing the voice acting for him. That was great.
It's true.
In my opinion. I loved him there, and then it was very sad to see him go.
Shout out Chris Pine.
Chris Pine.
Yeah, Chris Pine.
Do we have?
Where's he at? He's in Dungeons. Oh wait, no, we didn't review Dungeons.
Oh, he's
Did
in
we have
Wonder
him on the
Woman.
pod?
Though. I think
He's in Wonder Woman. Okay.
He's in Don't Worry,
so
Darling.
He's 1 for 1.
No, he's in Don't Worry, Darling.
Is he? Ah, he is.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
But so that makes him that's 4 appearances. He's climbing.
4. Wait, how
Dude.
did we get to 4? Am I tripping?
Both Wonder Womans, 84 and OG.
Oh, we do have both Wonder Womans on there. Yeah.
Spoilers for Wonder Woman 1984, I guess. And then Don't Worry, Darling, and now this. And who knows? He could be in another one that I can't think of right now.
Yeah.
But we'll check and see. But 4, that's getting up there. That's getting up there. But all that being said, welcome back, listeners who skipped over the spoiler segment of the podcast. We're going to go ahead and throw Spider-Man into the Spider-Verse up upon our Entropy list, our big list of all the movies we reviewed, all compared to one another. It's essentially how we just rate our movies. We think it's fun. If you want to reference the Entropy list for yourself, you can do so by checking the episode description, where it is linked to my Letterboxd.
Damn.
Good album.
Yam.
Great album. For sure. I mean, immediately when I watch this, right, then I pull up the list, I immediately find the last Spider-Man film we did on here at No Way Home, and that's sitting at 31, and I like this significantly more than I like that film. So that was kind of my baseline, and then I'm kind of just rambling from there. I think I'll probably I don't know, man. This movie's pretty good. I think I'll This is tough.
This is very tough.
Yeah.
Because it's like every other movie I see, I'm like, oh, I like it better than that. But wait, not that one. And then I go above that one, and it's like, oh, better than
Right.
that. And now it's
The
it's like I can
dilemma
put
is
it.
that you could probably argue Spider-Man No Way Home is just a tad bit too high. But
Mhm.
anytime you look above that, I'm just like, damn, like, do I like this more than No Country for Old Men? We just praised that movie a ton, right?
Yeah.
Do I like this more than
John
the
Wick for
Batman?
me.
For
That's the
sure,
thing that I
yeah.
saw too. Is the Batman's interesting because
Right.
it's the
But I
highest
do
rated
like this
superhero
more
film I think we
than-
have, right?
It is. And I do like this more than the Batman. But then I'm like, Jesus, the Batman.
That I might
fucking
like this
high on this
more.
list.
It is
So,
pretty
yeah,
fucking high.
Yeah, I'm going to go 24 with this. Below
Okay.
Terminator 2, above
Ooh.
Dune.
Yeah.
I
TT,
am
TT
going to
cap.
be one lower. I think long run, just as a film in general, I will praise Dune a little bit higher than this, as good as this movie is. But yeah, I think it's it's a pretty good contest for anything below that. And you guys know it's hard for me to put things above Starship Troopers. That's my gatekeeper. So yeah, 25.
Fair.
I'm torn, dude. I don't know.
Yeah,
I don't know if
this
I can
is tough.
choose.
It's hard for me to put it above Dune and T2, but I do like this more than the Batman and Lord of the Rings. But granted, I'm not a huge fantasy guy, as you guys do kind of know that. So I think I'm probably going to skew this a little bit, and it's tough. But I think I'm going to put this at, man, the second Lord of the Rings is that high too. Okay, I'll put it at 20. I'll kind of be the middle ground to myself.
20.
Yeah.
Okay. So below Fellowship of the Ring and above The Green Knight.
Yeah.
Interesting. I still can't decide. I don't, because you're right. I like it more than the Batman, I think. But then I look at like Back to the Future and John Wick Chapter 4 and Starship Troopers, and all 4 of those kill me, or 3 of those kill me.
And T2.
I don't have the attachment you guys do to T2, but I agree with you that it's also very strong. Wow. I think I'm just gonna say a number, and I'm gonna just stick with it. I think that's.
We're waiting.
I know. I'll have to do. Let me do 26. Let me do 26. Below Back to the Future and above Avatar: The Way of Water. Back to the Future is just too hard for me to put it above. And even when I look above that, Dune, T2, like you said, Batman, and The Lord of the Rings, all great films. The only one that kills me for real is John Wick 4 and Starship Troopers. Those two are getting to me, but I can feel good about that. I definitely think this is better than Avatar: The Way of Water, in my opinion. We haven't checked in on that. Do we think we've put that too high?
I don't
I
know.
was thinking
Now that it's cooled off.
I was kind of thinking about it because we were going through all this. It's hard to say because
It is very hard to say,
it is really a good movie, but
especially in 3D Dolby. That shit was incredible.
yeah, I'll have to get back to you on that. I don't know yet.
Okay.
I definitely haven't soured on it, and
Yeah.
obviously the first one I'm very attached to, and this one is really good as well. But for some odd reason, it feels just like kind of commercial,
Yeah.
and I think
Yeah.
that's part of because it's so big.
Right.
But I don't know.
So here's the thing, gentlemen. Gentlemen. The average rating is 23.75, meaning we have to tie break it with T2. Are we above or below Terminator 2 Judgment
Below.
Day? Blake?
Yeah, you tie breaking those two, you got to go below for sure.
I could agree with that.
You
I'm
gotta
not
have some
too
integrity as well as-
upset with it, so we'll put it below at 24. So it's slotted in there below T2 Judgment Day and above Dune, which I feel pretty good about. That's a good spot. That's a good
Yeah.
spot.
Highest superhero film we have on here now, fellas. The Batman had that title for about a year and a half.
Oh no, it's still below the Batman.
No,
24. Batman's at
Am I
22.
tripping? Oh, I am tripping. Yeah,
It's close. It's very close. Only one movie separates it.
yeah. Never mind.
Maybe this next one, if it is in fact better than
Possibly.
this first one, it might. Maybe. It's possible.
Django's a superhero film to me.
Jenga's.
Jamie Foxx
Oh,
is
oh.
technically a superhero film of that. A superhero that.
I think
for
that's
sure.
Quentin Tarantino's superhero movie.
For sure. Django, yeah. So I guess I'll have to go back on Miles Morales being the first black superhero we have on here. It may actually go to Jamie Foxx as a free slave.
That's true.
For sure.
And Blade, and Project Power.
Oh yeah. No.
Don't forget about Project Power.
Jamie Foxx is shooting 2 for 2, yeah.
Fox is
that's
too.
funny.
We did do Wakanda Forever as well too.
True.
Oh yeah.
Well,
Yeah, I'm waiting
I
for
think that's gonna do it here for our review segment. As we said, Into the Spider-Verse slotted in at 24. Not too bad. Not too shabby. Our next review, as I mentioned earlier, is going to be the sequel, Across the Spider-Verse, out this weekend. I believe we said it was Thursday is the earliest you can see it. So check that out and join us for a review of that next week. With all that being said, let's get into our what we're watching segment. Nathaniel, what have you been watching? Good
I
sir?
got a couple big things. Succession finale. Clocked it.
Yes. Do we want to do a little spoiler segment here at all?
It's up to you.
I'm down. Let me do a timestamp here real quick. 127. All right, yeah. We're gonna do Succession spoilers. So the whole entire show basically, including the finale. So if you've not seen it, maybe check that episode description. I'm leaving you a timestamp. Now's your chance. Get out of here. All right. Nathaniel, what are your thoughts here? You called it, kind of, pretty much.
I guess in a weird way, huh? Yeah.
Yeah. You ruined the show
Um,
for me, so thank you.
Oh, I'm sorry, man. I didn't really think that.
No, I'm just kidding.
No, I thought it was. Yeah, it was really good. I mean, they brought it
was
home.
really good.
They landed the plane. So
They
I
did land the
mean,
plane.
it'll definitely be one of those ones where time will tell. You know, I'll be very interested to see how this show ages, as well.
Sure.
As things go moving forward, but yeah, I mean, if the point of a finale is to both surprise you but feel natural, then I think it succeeded on both of those kind of goals in that way. I think
Right.
personally it's one of the most complete ends to a series that I've seen in a while, or seen in overall as well too. And I think Succession will end up as one of those kind of mythical shows, you know.
Sure.
But yeah, overall, very pleased. Can't believe they landed it, and you know, never doubt in my mind for my big Minnesota Tom, big Minnesota Tom.
Yeah, how do you feel
call him.
about Tom getting the?
I think it's great. Yeah,
basically
no,
winning.
it's great. It's great. I love it. It's
There was a second where I was like, oh wait, is this where the Greg angle comes in? Like, is he just gonna like be like, hey Greg, just be my yes man and
Sure.
be the face of this? I was like, oh, this would be awesome. Which I feel like, I don't know. I was thinking about it and I was like, that does feel a little cheap because like he really, I don't know. That doesn't feel like that would happen.
No,
and, like,
I
the
think
Wamsgans things.
I think with Tom the thing
feels
is
a little bit better.
Yeah, I think with Tom the thing is that you see it fits the reality where the era of the family owned business is gone. Now the thing is the shareholders and whoever is who's taking the money, and they don't want anyone with opinions. They just want a stuffed shirt who is Tom. So yeah, I thought it was great. Big fan overall. And we'll see. I don't know if it's one I'm gonna like kind of rewatch or anything like that. I can't say that it maybe will, because there is just like everyone's an asshole. But
Yeah.
fuck, it's one of the funniest shows I've seen in a long time.
Dude, there are, thinking back to that second season, especially, like there are just some laugh out loud moments between pretty much any. I mean, there's all the characters really, but like Tom Wamsgans especially, we've talked about already on the podcast a couple times, and then his dynamic with Greg. I don't know, one of the
Disgusting
best
Brothers.
written shows. In turn, what did you say?
The Disgusting Brothers.
Yeah, this dude, like you could just keep going with that kind of stuff. This is probably one of the best written shows in terms of dialogue that I think we've seen in a while. Because even when you look at Game of Thrones, like completely different type of dialogue that you're dealing with when you're dealing with kind of like almost archaic English, or you're trying to match that but also make it modern, like that kind of thing. But just in terms of like building characters and between their actions and what they say and like mannerisms, stuff like that. And just a lot of the show is doesn't have much action. The entirety of the show is characters talking. So like the fact that they are able to do 4 very good seasons of just people talking, and it's engaging, and you know, one of the most popular shows HBO's put out since Game of Thrones. Man, that's pretty impressive. So I'm would love to see what these writers do next, because this was a very good show. I'm pretty happy with the ending. I wish we could have gotten a little bit more clarity on where, or at least a little bit more fleshed out as to where Tom and Shiv stand, because I feel like that was left pretty ambiguous, which, like, sure, that's kind of the point. And it's like they give you enough where you're like, okay, this is what's kind of going to play out, and you can fill in the rest in your head. But I do feel like there was like more that could have been played out there. Not necessarily that they needed to, but I would have liked it if they did. That's kind of like the only thing I felt like I was missing out on, was like, oh, there's still a lot in that relationship that they've been unpacking, but there's even more there. And especially with they only kind of had this development come up in the last episode, and there's a lot to unpack with like your ex-husband taking your family's empire, but you're also pregnant with his kid, and you might be getting a divorce. Like, there's just so much wrapped up in that I feel I just would have liked a little bit more out of that. But besides all that, like, I'm still very happy with the ending. I'm glad that they ended the show in 4 seasons and didn't drag this out longer just to have it drag out for longer. Because at the end of the day, like I said, this is only people talking. There's only so much they could have done here, and I think they handled everything really well.
Agreed.
Yeah. Let me get the Succession outs timestamp here, but you're going to continue with your list here. We're now out of Succession spoilers.
Yeah. Other than that, I got to the Ted Lasso finale today, and
I did not watch that, so chill on those spoilers. We'll do that next week.
I did. I'll say I loved 98% of it. So,
No, ooh, okay.
Take with what you will.
Thanks. Am I gonna recognize that 2%?
We'll see.
Okay.
Then the other big thing that I got to was a film called Audition, which I believe Blake talked about on the podcast not too long ago.
I was gonna say I've heard of this, and I think it was because of one of you guys.
That is true. So it is a movie from 1999. It is about it is a Japanese film. It is about a guy that is a widower. His wife dies at the start of the film, and then it's several years later, and his son decides to tell him that he should remarry. So his buddy is a film producer, and he sets up an audition for a bunch of girls to come in and audition for an acting role. And he says, "Hey, why don't you see a girl that you like and ask her to go out and see if you can start dating again?" And things go awry from there. Adam, you're not allowed to watch this movie.
Is it one where my dad would have to cover my eyes?
Yes. Yeah, I think so. As a person who does not like the gore, this would be one that you should not go into. Though it's not very gory overall, I guess. Would you say, Blake? Like it's
No, there's not a ton of
gore. It's just it's unpleasant though. Oh, we might have lost you there, Blake. Are you Yeah, I don't think we can hear Blake right now. But it's not gore so much, Adam. I would say like something like X maybe has just about as much gore in it overall.
Okay.
But it is definitely played for. It's super intense, very, very intense, and it's a very slow burn. And then at the end, it's just a huge ramp up into like an crazy climax. But yeah, it is a big recommend for me. It is on Tubi, our new favorite streaming service, and yeah, I'm glad I finally got to it. It's one I've been waiting to get to for kind of a little while now. But overall, I'm glad I finally got to see it. So that I'm gonna kick it on over to Tyler. What have you been watching, dude?
Yo, dude.
Oh, I watched Monaco. Did you watch Monaco?
I did.
There we go.
I also watched Monaco. What a waste of time.
I thought it got real fun in the last kind of 20 laps when it started raining.
It did kinda.
That race is one probably the most iconic race in the Formula One calendar.
No, it is iconic. I'm of the party that believes it is just not entertaining anymore. And
everybody knows that race is won on Saturday.
Yep.
Yes.
You do not intend to change any spots unless somebody really fucks up on strategy, some kind of car malfunction. Where you qualify is 95% of the time you will finish, if everything goes according to plan. So
right.
You know what? I'm just happy that I got to watch racing. So
that's true. It's been a little bit.
Yeah. But yeah, I did get around to the Monaco Grand Prix. I was in Tennessee Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. So that did take away a little bit of my watch time. But I did get around to some stuff still. I have finished Cyberpunk Edge Runners. It's only 10 episodes on Netflix. So I think there's rumors, or there already is talks of a season 2 coming out. So we'll see if that actually happens. I'll be pretty excited
that's
if it does. It's a killer show. So yeah, I'd be excited to see a season 2 for sure. Another, I got around to like a classic like older movie. Not like older, but it's just like a classic like stupid funny humor movie. But that's Ted. I don't know.
I haven't seen Ted all the way through. I've seen clips
What? Blake, you're
and all that
muted.
stuff. Man,
Can't hear you. Bullshit. I'm gonna come throw your mic across the room for you. Fuck that piece of shit. Nah.
hey man, I got the
nada.
same mic.
Nada. Oh, there's like a little glimpse of something.
Oh, there we go. I think we got you.
Yeah,
Yeah, there you go.
There you are.
for sure. I don't know what the fuck. I think it's usually anytime my MacBook's dying, then once I plug in my charger, my mic goes mute.
Weird.
Weird. But Ted's awesome. I haven't seen that movie in a long time, but that's like
I haven't
peak,
either,
like,
bro.
high school entertainment for me is watching Ted for sure.
It's so much fun. It's very interesting to see Seth MacFarlane's writing go from where he was at with a lot of Family Guy stuff to where he was at with Ted and Ted 2 to see where he's at now, which actually kind of leads into what I've also been watching. And it's a show that I kind of started watching kind of towards like the beginning half of the week, but I've watched it before and I haven't picked it up until then or until now. But that's The Orville, and it's probably it's probably the most woke show that I've actually like watched. But there's a lot of different kind of political points that they'll touch on throughout the seasons. And I really, really thoroughly enjoyed the first. I think there's 3 seasons out, maybe 4. I honestly don't know. But the first season, like, killed it. I loved it. Second season was also pretty good. So I actually hopped back on that train. And I still don't mind it. I still like his writing. I still love all the acting. I still love the fact that this is like in space. You get very Star Trek-y kind of vibes from it. So yeah, I guess I really don't care how woke this the Orville gets. It's just one of those things that I just kind of enjoy, and I think I'm always going to enjoy it, or at least I hope I do. The production value for a TV show on Hulu is actually pretty high, so yeah, I just like it. It's just a good show.
Good.
How
Yeah,
many seasons of that are there?
3 for sure. It might be 4. I don't know,
Gotcha.
honestly.
Have you seen all of it or just a few?
No, I'm caught up.
Okay.
Yeah, because I watched the first season when it first came out because I was like, oh, what the fuck is this? And I was like, I thoroughly enjoy what he does with Family Guy and stuff like that, so I'll definitely take a look. And yeah, it's just a good show to watch. So
Yeah.
And then I wanted to get into another anime. And it's one that I've watched before, but I haven't come back to. It does have a second season now, but it's been a while since I watched the first season, so I'm currently rewatching the first season. I'm only like 4 episodes in, but with a day off tomorrow, I'm sure that will change. But that is Tokyo Fire Force, which is just so fucking good.
Great theme song.
And I forgot how good it was.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, so I'm excited to get through the first season again, and then I'm really excited to see how the second season plays out.
I got 6 or so episodes into the second season.
Okay,
And then I was like, but let me know what you're feeling. Maybe it'll convince me to go back onto it.
I'm sure I can. I can convince you to do a lot of things.
Whoa, man. We don't need to talk about this. This is a family podcast.
But yeah, other than that, I was in Tennessee, and I was
you
at
doing
a bachelor party
Oh, nice.
for my sister's fiance.
I mentioned this to you guys already, but I was also at a bachelor party this weekend. My other brothers.
Whoa!
Whoa. Yeah, that was a good time. We were
Yeah,
in
it
Michigan.
was a good time. I caught the vibe early. I've only met a handful of his friends, and now I kind of
Sure.
got to meet the rest of the group. But
Uh-huh.
we got there Friday, kind of late afternoon. It's like a 9.5 hour drive, by the way. So fuck
Yeah.
you. So yeah, that wasn't fun, but it was a good time. But yeah, I caught the vibe early when they were like, "Hey, we're gonna kind of play out our D&D campaign one of these nights."
Oh, really?
Oh boy.
And yeah, so I was like, "Okay." so
Nice.
so
So
yeah,
you're
it was
rolling
a-
dice.
Yeah, it was a good time. We went to Gatlinburg, Tennessee, which is basically like I will currently now call it the Tennessee Dells,
Sure.
and it's like literally a Dells, and somebody just built it in a valley, in a mountain.
See.
But the drive back there in the mountains was
I'm sure
superb.
gorgeous. Yeah.
Yeah. Tennessee, underrated mountains. I know they're
Oh, for
part of
sure, dude.
Appalachia and everything, but I don't feel like that does not get talked about enough when it comes to like mountains and stuff in the U.S.
Agreed. Yeah, it's very beautiful. And at one point we got lost for like 20 minutes, so that was
that
cool too.
that is not beautiful.
Nah, it was fine.
driving the mountains at night is always scary for me because it's just black all the way up alongside you and very little like moonlight or starlight.
Yeah, not a lot of street lights
yeah.
out there.
Yeah, so the nighttime Tennessee is scary. But
And you're going down the wrong road if somebody's like outside and they're local and their face just says, "What the fuck are you doing down here?"
yeah,
That's how you know you're going the wrong way.
yeah, that helps.
So, but yeah, that's all I got. Blake, what have you been watching?
Yeah, I got to not a ton, but a handful of things this week, more than I usually do. So let me pull up this diary here. So for starters, I watched Cocaine Bear.
Ah.
No way, let's go. How'd you
Yeah,
like it?
finally.
That's
I
fun.
mean, it was cool for what it was.
Yeah, it's fine, right?
As far as me saying I feel like I like missed out on watching that, probably not, by any means. But yeah, it was funny. I think it just has a little bit too many characters for me, for like kind of a story that's small and linear. But I mean, at the end of the day, I mean, it's a bear on cocaine. Like, we need more monster. To its core, it's a monster flick, right? And I am cool with that. Me and Nathaniel talk about Crawl. We've talked about Piranha 3D. So like, I am kind of on board with some of those monster flicks. Then obviously they got the twist with the bear being on cocaine. So you get a scene where you see the bear. He actually snorts a line off a guy's leg that he ate. So yeah,
You know what? That's cinema right there.
for sure. So I saw that and I was like, you know what? It is what it is, man. It's a cool movie. So yeah, not bad. And it's a quick runtime too. It's only like 40 something minutes or so.
Ooh, man, if that thing is over 90.
Yeah. But
40's close. 40's close enough. 40's close.
Yeah, if you don't have anything going on, just want something to put on kind of just for a few laughs. That's what I got to.
Where's that streaming at?
I was on Peacock. So I actually saw which I don't have a Peacock. I may have to commit to that, fellas. But
$5.
yeah, but Netflix is currently fucking me out of my money. So I think once I get rid of Netflix, I can probably go ahead and double down on Peacock. But for $5,
Are you getting rid of Netflix, man?
I have to, bro. Honestly, I've been saying that for years, and I think at one point I gotta just kind of stand out.
I feel like I still use it enough, and their movie selection, their backlog has been getting better.
Bro, they're about to
Past
start
years.
charging
Very
the
dry.
password, bro.
The other thing, but for me, my brother will pay that main subscription. Maybe I'll just pay the $8 to tag along, and at that point, because my brother's. But that's the thing is,
I'm on the other end of that. Well, I've got the main subscription, then I'm sure maybe like my dad would probably pay like the $8 for the password, but you know what I mean? So I'm still footing the $19.99 for Netflix 4K.
We've spread out our subscriptions, so I pay for the Disney Plus bundle with Hulu and ESPN Plus. That's my share, and then my brother covers Netflix and HBO and
for sure.
Yeah, whatever else, it gets split up basically. And so I don't know. If I have to pay him $8 a month to get Netflix, I might do it. I mean, it's not that.
Yeah, I guess I hear you.
But I get situation. I think it's different for me, of course.
Yeah, I hear you though. When you break it down that way, though, because
Yeah.
Dad, we kind of split up our streaming. Why I got Netflix, Hulu, he's got Disney, HBO, ESPN, and all that. So I guess I can't really
Right.
pull the rug from him. But man, fuck Netflix, man. So I'll tell
Yeah,
you that.
dude. No, that is ridiculous. I agree.
Next film I got to, and I don't know if any of you have seen this, and it was actually on Tubi when I was scrolling through there trying to find something to watch. It's called Takers. It's from 2010. It's got T.I., it's got Idris Elba, it's got Paul Walker, rest in peace.
Oh
Chris
man, yeah,
Chris Brown.
do remember
yes.
that
Yeah,
movie.
and Christian Hayden.
Yep.
Aiden Christensen. Yeah.
Matt Dillon, Michael Ealy's in there. Yeah, so I was just scrolling through on Tubi as I normally do, and then I was like, "Holy shit, they have Takers! I haven't seen that in probably 7-8 years, man." And that's one I actually remember going to the theater in high school to watch this. This came out in 2010, so it kind of had some nostalgia factors in that for me as well. But yeah, I mean, it's a bank heist movie, not the greatest bank heist movie by any means, but it's actually not too bad. So that's directed by John Lucenheim, I believe is how you pronounce his name. I don't know him from anything else outside of he made the Texas Chainsaw Massacre 3D.
Wow.
Also starred Trey Songz.
Wait, there's I forgot they did a 3D.
They did.
I remember.
So this guy's
I
got
remember
a
advertising
catalog
and
of
everything
getting
for that.
artists in his movies.
That's funny.
But yeah, so that's one that kind of pulled up, and yeah, overall, not too bad. It was good seeing Paul Walker on screen again, of course, because this is probably one of his last few roles. I think Paul Walker, he passed away. What was that? Maybe 2012?
No. Paul Walker.
No, am I way off here?
Yeah, it's like 2015.
I thought it was
they were
12,
filming
13.
Fast 7.
Oh, so we think it's like 16, 17?
Yeah,
It's
Paul
closer
Walker.
to 15 than it is
Okay,
12.
fair enough. I thought it was 12, 13, but
No,
yeah,
it's
it was cool to see
around
Paul
14,
Walker
15.
on screen there. And yeah, just kind of a cool little bank heist. It's got a few plot twists in there going on as kind of your standard bank heist film.
2013 was when he died.
2013. Okay,
Yeah.
yeah. So that's one, and outside of that, that's really it. So just watched some basketball. Unfortunately, the Lakers lost, so we'll have to see what the Denver Nuggets and the Miami Heat do. Miami Heat are good though, fellas. So I think they may be.
Yeah, this is going to be a great finals. Actually, I'm very excited.
Yeah, for sure. So we'll take a look at that.
And it's the dream scenario I have here, which I don't know if I said this last week, but if whoever wins, I'm happy because either Jokic gets a ring, who I love, or
sure.
Jimmy Butler gets a ring, who
For
I
sure.
love. So
Both well deserved for both of them.
yeah,
Can't hate it.
exactly.
I'm a fan of basketball. Can't hate it.
Who are you rooting though for? Because that's
Ooh,
the tough
man.
thing now. Is like, yeah, it's win-win, but also I don't have one person to root for, and now I
Yeah.
kind of really don't know who I want to win.
I don't really
Because I
have
want to see
stakes
both
in
of
it.
these teams win.
I would probably just rather see compelling games all the way through. I mean,
Sure.
I think at the end of the day, though, I would probably rather see the Heat win. One, they're just quote unquote not as good of a team, right? I mean, a lot of their players are people who are undrafted. You know what I mean? People who shouldn't be there. They're like the epitome of that. With the Nuggets, for sure, maybe they don't have the quote unquote star power, but Jokic is definitely a top 3 player.
He's not
in the
flashy.
NBA.
He's
Yeah,
not
for
flashy,
sure.
but he is a top 3 player in the NBA and has been for damn near 3 years now.
Exactly.
So 3 or 4 years.
So we'll see, man. But I think it'll be good. But yeah.
You know what? Actually, I scratched that. I take that back. He is flashy. Did you see those threes he was hitting on the Lakers?
Dude,
Like
he
all
was
series, just
fucking
one leg
crazy, man.
step back, almost James Harden like threes. Like
Yeah.
he is kind of getting flashy, man. If he gets
He is
flashy, then
wildly
he
good.
is. Yeah, he's insane. Yeah, I don't know. I think you're right. I think I'd rather just see a good close series that's fun to watch. I ultimately think the Nuggets are going to win, and I don't know if I'd rather see them win because I want to get Jokic. I want to get Jokic and Jimmy a ring. I'd rather have Jimmy get the ring than Jokic, but I also just kind of want the Nuggets franchise to have a dub in general. You know, like the first time in the finals and that kind of thing, and I wouldn't mind seeing them win. But again, if they don't, then Jimmy gets a ring, and that's fun too. Because I think he deserves one after a lot of heartbreak he's been through in the playoffs.
For sure. And he also has and this may even be not of it to Tyler and But I don't know if you were following NBA maybe like 4 years ago or so, but there's kind of the thing going on
Kinda.
when Jimmy Butler was on the Timberwolves. And there was a
Right.
huge kind of debacle of like him arguing with the coaching staff. It was Tom Thibodeau, who was the head coach,
that's
who was
right,
the
yeah.
previous Bulls coach. Then like the GM, the owner, and he basically went on there. And the rumor is that he came to practice one day without showing up for weeks. He played with the people who are on the G League, so like the third and fourth
Yeah,
team. He beat
yeah.
all the starters. And a player from that team, Jeff Teague, just went on a podcast maybe about 3 weeks
I heard
ago.
that or saw that clip.
And he gave the full story of what came down to that. And Jimmy Butler is probably clinically insane. Like,
Yeah.
diagnosable for sure.
Yeah.
But I do want to see him win a ring. But you talk about just like the death, like the Kobe Bryant, the Michael Jordan competitor level. Like Jimmy Butler is insane for sure.
Dude, yeah. No,
The
I
story
heard that
from
story.
practice is it's hilarious, but it's unbelievable.
It is hilarious. Were they arguing over salary? I think at the time, like they
I
hadn't
think
signed
he
him or
wanted to
something.
be paid more, and they didn't want to pay him. It's kind of the standard
Like,
sports.
yeah, and he was like, "You're not gonna pay me,
for
you're
sure.
gonna pay them or something like that." Yeah. And he's like,
Oh,
he's not even shooting the ball; he's just passing, but they're winning. Like,
Yeah, for sure. So long story short, he picks the G League players, plays the starters, beats them with the G League players. He's talking shit to the GM as they're playing. Like, you guys are fucking
Screaming at him.
trash. You need to pay him. The best player here. Unbelievable. He takes off his warm up. He has the Timberwolves gear on. He cut off the Timberwolves logo in his chest. So
I
he's
didn't
in
hear
there
that
with a
part.
hole in his chest.
Holy
playing
shit.
basketball. Yeah, it's like it's a comical story, and I'm like, this guy is
That's
fucking
insane.
for sure.
It's insane.
Shout out to him, man. Great player.
Yeah,
Great
I've been seeing a lot of like Jimmy Butler behind the scenes in the locker room kind of clips recently.
Yeah,
So there's more stuff like that too.
for sure.
Man, it's gonna be a good finals though. I'm excited.
Yeah,
It
absolutely.
starts tomorrow, right? I think
It
tomorrow's
does.
game one.
Game one's tomorrow.
Yeah. Hey, we also have to consider too. The Nuggets have 9 days rest
Yeah.
versus a game 7 that ended 2 days ago.
Yeah, for sure.
So that's another factor to consider.
Yeah. Speaking of sports, who's do we know who's in the NHL? Me and Nathaniel were talking about that. I know the Florida Panthers made the Stanley Cup, right? Because
they're on a run.
The
They swept the they swept the Hurricanes.
Carolina
Hurricanes. Yeah.
Yeah. And then who was playing? Was it Dallas is playing somebody? And then
Vegas, I think.
It was Vegas.
do we know where that's? Do we know? Oh, they won, Nathaniel.
I believe Vegas got it done, if I'm not mistaken. Yeah. Panthers versus the Golden Knights kicks off Saturday, June 3rd.
That's a
So
wild
Vegas
series.
won. I thought Vegas down in that series.
No,
I thought so.
They were up.
Oh, so they were handling it the whole time.
Yeah, I think it was 3-1, 3-2, something like that when
Okay.
they moved on.
Gotcha. So yeah, we'll see, man. I may try to put a Stanley Cup game on, fellas.
Dude, playoff hockey is
That's what
very
everyone
entertaining.
says, man. Everyone says
It
playoff
is.
hockey's good, and if you want to get into, if you just want to get into it, turn it on in the playoffs, which is probably goes for most sports. But they do say playoff hockey is obviously very, very.
No, it is. It definitely is. It's not as fun when the Blackhawks aren't in it, but it's still just entertaining to watch in general. It's to me, it's like a sport I care the least about. So it's like, you know how you say you don't care about the outcome for the NBA. It's like it's me like times 10 for that, just because like, oh, whatever, it's hockey. But it's still pretty entertaining to watch.
Hockey just bores the fuck out of me.
Really?
Just can't watch it. If I put it on TV or it's on TV, I'm asleep. I'm like 5 minutes in, I'm out.
Damn. I did not expect that.
Yeah, sorry everybody who enjoys hockey. It's just it's not for me.
Tyler's out.
Yeah.
I'll
He's
go
off.
to a game.
He's off watching.
I'll go to pretty much any
Sporting
live
event.
professional sporting
okay.
event. Maybe probably even college, but yeah, just not on TV. No shot.
I hear you,
Fair
bro.
enough.
For sure.
Well, boys,
Is that it on your list there, Blake?
Yeah, that's it for me, man.
All right. I only got to a couple things. I can go through them quick. Of course, watch Succession, as we discussed before. What else did I get to? Let me pull up. I did pull up the list. Where is it? Yeah, watch the NBA we discussed for a while. While I was at my bachelor party, brother's bachelor party, he's a big I Think You Should Leave fan. So we watched some of that, and then the third season came out yesterday. I think just yesterday.
That's true.
So I watched 2 or 3 episodes of that, which all were pretty solid. I'm not like the biggest fan of that show. My brother and his friends just absolutely love it, and anytime I'm around them, that's all they quote. So like I'm kind like I kind of have to get on board if I want to be in on the jokes because that's all they quote. So I still overall enjoy it. I think it's pretty entertaining. And this third season's been all right so far. Also watched which this is I find much more entertaining. Documentary Now. We me and my cousin threw on a couple episodes of that while we were at the bachelor party. That was just kind of random. I forgot who was showing someone an episode of that, but then we just kind of kept watching it. So that show is really funny. I think I kind of want to go back and just watch more of those. I really like that, and probably more than I Think You Should Leave. And there's one we watched with Tim Robinson in it. It was like a bowling one with Bobby Moynihan, Tim Robinson, and the guy who plays Dexter. And it was hysterical, dude. It was really, really funny. It was like about bowling. That was like a sports doc about bowling. It was really good.
I've seen that commercial a couple different
Have you?
times. Yeah, the trailer.
Yeah, it was really, really good. So watched a few episodes of that. I think I kind of want to go back to that. And the other thing I returned to was Andor. Picked that back up because I made a promise to Nathaniel that I would watch it. And so I intend to keep that promise. And not like I feel like there's a gun to my head because I'm still enjoying it. I forgot why I stopped watching it. Mainly because my girlfriend doesn't like sci-fi or Star Wars. She doesn't watch much entertainment in general, but that's like the one genre she actively dislikes. So I can put on pretty much anything else except for that stuff, and she doesn't have an issue. But since I'm home and she's in Italy on the study abroad trip, I am like, all right, Andor it is. So that's been fun. I only watched 1 or 2 more episodes of that, but still really good. And I'm going to finish that out. How many episodes are there? 12, 13?
I think somewhere in there. Yeah, 12.
Yeah. But yeah, I've been enjoying that a lot. Definitely a different side of Star Wars than we're used to seeing.
100%.
I've kind of noticed it's like, there's like family housing or like not family housing. We like see like families' living rooms and stuff like that. And it's kind of much more intimate in that way. Which like I wish they would make it stand out a little bit more. Make it feel more Star Wars because it kind of just feels like, oh, this is like a home that we would have. Like, and I think it's fine because that could probably exist on some planets or most planets, and it's not like that is that far away from our universe or whatever. But it just doesn't. There's like one scene where it was like, oh, all these alien characters having like a very human just family interaction. So it was just like, maybe we switch it up a little bit, but not that big of a deal. I still think it's cool to see, and I'm liking it.
Cool.
But yeah, I think we'll close it out there. Run a little bit longer. So yeah, that'll do it here for what we're watching. Let's see, Nathaniel, do we have a 5-star review?
No, but if they want to give us a 5-star review, I will read it out here on the podcast. You can do so in app on Apple Podcasts or Spotify at some point. And yeah, Adam, close this on out.
Yeah, you can find or share the podcast, share with a friend, a family member, a Spider-Man from whatever universe you care for it to be. Once you're done sharing the podcast, go ahead and follow it. Follow it on Twitter at Banter Row, on Instagram at Back Row Banter Pod, and our YouTube is just Back Row Banter. BlakeHolder, where can the people find you at, my man?
Yo, Letterboxd, BlakeHolder. I'll be on there logging things, rating them out of 5 stars. I keep saying, but yeah, something I thoroughly enjoy. Maybe I'll put some thoughts on it. We'll see. Maybe if it's a new horror movie or something of that nature. PlayStation, Xbox, Instagram, Mr. Watercooler. New Mortal Kombat comes out later this year. I want to say it's August, September, so in a few months. So if anyone's playing that, whether it's PlayStation or Xbox, please let me know, and I will likely play with you. And outside of that, speaking of Spider-Man and video games, they did release gameplay of the new Spider-Man.
Spider-Man 2, yeah.
Yeah, man, that looks fucking good. So I think I may end up buying that.
Oh,
I think that comes
boy.
out this year as well.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's what you got for me. We'll pass this to Nathaniel.
You can find me on Twitter and Letterboxd at @nsgangrick. You can find me on Instagram at NathanielG92. Sandpiper Taste is my other letterbox. Sandpiper Taste is my other podcast. Tyler, get us on out of here.
Instagram, Letterboxd, and Twitter are all me. They're all me. Tyler Dallas. VIDALES.
You can find me on Twitter at Aish24, on Letterboxd at Aish, and on Twitch at twitch.tv/Aish. That's AYYSH. That's going to do it here for episode 148. Thank you all for listening, especially if you made it this far into the episode. You're my favorite kind of listener. And join us for our review of Spider-Verse, Across the Spider-Verse next week. We'll be RB.
Be excellent to each other, everyone, and we will be RB.
Thanks for stopping by. We appreciate you. And tell somebody you love them. We'll be RB.
Thanks for the support. Thanks for listening as always. We wouldn't be able to continue this podcast if it wasn't for you. So continue to do at least one thing you love every day. That'll at least make sure you have a better day than expected. We'll be RB.
There was no Japanese on my Blu-ray.
America. Ready for another lesson.
You know what's an insane movie? Has anyone ever heard of the movie Mr. Brooks?
Yeah.
I feel like I've heard of it. I definitely
No,
haven't
I
seen
don't.
it.
All right, listen to this, Adam. Let me just learn you about it here real quick.
I'd love to learn.
It comes out in 2007, right?
Okay. Love that year.
I'm gonna read you the IMDb summary here. A well-respected businessman is sometimes controlled by his murder and mayhem-loving alter ego, which is realistically kind of a shit IMDb summary. So I'm gonna pitch it to you like this:
Okay.
A well-known local businessman is addicted to serial killing.
Oh. American Psycho.
Except he like goes to AA meetings for it and everything. Like he's treating it like a true
Okay.
addiction, right? The businessman, all right, ready for this now? The businessman is played by Kevin Costner. He's the main character. He's Mr. Brooks. The alter ego who just shows up as a random person in the film with him is William Hurt, i.e. General Ross from the Marvel universe. And then
Okay.
the main B
Love that
character,
casting.
his little sidekick, is Dane Cook.
The fuck?
And the
All
main
right, that does sound kind of fucking awesome.
the main like cop that's investigating everything is Demi Moore. It's directed by the same guy that did Stand By Me
Right.
and Jungle to Jungle. So really some just classics in there. Hasn't directed anything since. It's
You
very
don't say.
yeah. Yeah.
Hmm.
But I think it's a good movie.
I don't know, Nathaniel, based on that.
Tell me you're not at least intrigued.
I'm kind of intrigued, you're right.
Anyways, that's a movie I sometimes think about.